So now let's start the today's session. So today I am just going to give the introduction about the Maven, and then like we are going to configure the Maven. Okay. So in a real time, as I told, like we are going to you create a project called as a Maven project. And we have seen one reason like why we need to use the Maven. So as of now, like have in mind, so the Maven provides the proper folder structure. Okay. Okay. So even if the Maven doesn't provide the proper folder structure, we can create a different folders. Then how the Maven is going to play advantage for us in the sense. So if you notice, like in our project, like we are going to use something called as an Java, as well as along with it, as we are going to automate the web page. So in order to automate the web page, so we may need the help of the Selenium. So as of now, like we have done some basic thing, our project is able to recognize the keywords of Java. So all the keywords of Java are highlighting in the different color. So the reason in the sense, because like in the external libraries, like the Java is available. So similar how we have keywords of Java, so we are having few keywords for Selenium. So let's say, so the first keyword for the Selenium is called as an WebDriver. Okay. So whenever we are using any of the keyword, so either it is of an Java keyword or the Selenium keyword, at the end try to provide the variable name. Okay, and then like if you can assign the value, if you are not planning to assign the value, so you can just mention the semicolon. So here I can write the same int a is equal to 45 in a different way. So what I'm doing, so I'm not assigning the value, so just I'm mentioning like it is a int a, and post that I can assign the value to the a. So a is equal to 10. So like both are pretty much like similar. So either you can assign the value in the same line or in the different line. So if you are not assigning any value, so then you should mention, you should give the variable name followed by the semicolon. Okay. So now I'm typing the keyword of Selenium in our project. So the keyword of Selenium is called as an web driver, and I'm giving the variable name, and then at the end I'm giving the semicolon. So even the WebDriver has a naming conversion, so the W should be caps and D should be caps. So I have written the keywords of Selenium and it is highlighting in the red color. So when I place my mouse over it, so already showing cannot resolve the symbol WebDriver. So even if I click on the error message, it shows like cannot resolve the symbol called as a WebDriver. So which means the project failed to recognize the keywords of Selenium. So which means like we need to inject this Selenium knowledge inside the project. So how we are going to inject the Selenium knowledge in the sense? So with the help of jar files. Okay. So we are going to add something called as a jar file as it is related to the Selenium. So we are going to add the Selenium jar file. So how we call the Windows file as a exe and the Android file as a APK, in similar way like we always called Java file as the jar file. Okay, so we need to add this jar file. So one and only if we add this jar file, our project will able to recognize the keywords of Selenium. So how I'm going to download or how I'm going to inject the jar file into my project in the sense. So I will be navigating to the official Selenium web page. So let me just navigate to the official Selenium web page. So we call it as an selenium.dev. Okay, this is the official web page. So or you can just search as an Selenium. So you will be navigating to this web page. So once you navigate to this web page, so click on the download option. So if you click on the download option, So it shows like the Selenium client and WebDriver binding language, and it has mentioned like C Sharp, Ruby, Java, Python, and JavaScript. So these are the different programming language which are supported by the Selenium. And if I scroll down, so here I could see the Internet Explorer. So if I scroll down, so we can able to see the different types of browser it will work on. So it shows the Firefox, Safari, Opera, Chrome, and Edge, and it shows what are the operating system it is capable of. Okay, so this we have discussed in the features of the Selenium, and the same has been mentioned over here. So as we are going to, okay, use Java with Selenium, so we are going to download the Java jar file. So if you are planning to use C Sharp, you can use the C Sharp file. So as it is of Java, so here I could see something called as stable and some link is mentioned. And what is the version in the sense? It says 4.16.1, which indicates it's a Selenium version. And what is the Maven version yesterday we have used? I guess it is of like kind of a 3.9. Okay, so we should always aware of what kind of version we are using. So I'm just downloading the stable version. If I just click on it, so what happened? So automatically some zip file will be get downloaded. Okay, and when this version are released, in the sense it is released in the December 6th. So which means like frequently like we will be getting an update. So now let me just open the downloaded thing. Okay, and then let me just open this thing. So inside which I could be able to see the folder called as lib, and we are having many files, and all the files extension will be end with .jar. So in my system I have changed my system settings. So as the system setting is changed, it is displaying in the with the extension. Okay, so probably in your system like the extension may not be appear, or else you can see refer the type. So the type should be like executable jar file. Okay, so these are the jar files which are available, and even inside the lib folder like we are having many jar files. So we need to add the jar file into our project so that like our project will recognize the keywords of Selenium. And what is the version we are using in the sense? So all the jar file version is like 4.16.1. So now I'm going to inject this jar file manually into the project so that like our project will grasp the knowledge of the Selenium. But what happened in the future, like consider like the Selenium has updated the version from 4.16 to 4.17. So which means like every time whenever the new version is available in the market, so we should remove the old version and it should be replaced with the newer version. And it is like kind of a manual process, and also it is a tedious process, because like in a project we will be having n number of jar files. So we need to replace all the jar files, and if we fail to replace any one of specific jar file, it may leads to any issue in our coding, or there is a chances like we can delete some jar files. So how we are going to avoid this manual process? So instead of adding the jar file manually, so how we are going to add those jar file automatically into the project in the sense? So only with the help of the Maven. So whenever we are using the Maven, so the Maven will automatically download the respective jar file from the internet, and whenever the newer version is available, so it will delete the older version and it will replace it with the newer version. And how this is going to happen in the sense? So only with the help of the file called as an POM.xml. So whenever we are creating the Maven project, so the Maven project will have some file called as an pom.xml. Okay, if I double click and open, so this is the POM file, so which we call it as an heart of the Maven. Okay, so we are going to do the configuration in the pom.xml file. So what is Maven in the sense? At the high level, we can say Maven as a build management tool or project management tool. So I will tell you the reason why we call it as an build management or project management. Now let's configure the certain things in the POM.xml file. So which means like we are going to add the jar files into the project. Okay. So technically in the Maven, we call this jar as a dependency. Okay. So we are going to add the dependency into the project. And what dependency we are going to add in the sense? So we are going to add the Selenium dependency. So in order to add the Selenium dependency, so we should configure the Selenium dependency in the pom.xml file. So generally, this is the pom.xml file. So how the structure of pom.xml file look like in the sense, it will be similar to the structure of an HTML layer. So which means like it will be having something called as an open tag and close tag. So let's say, so whenever we are having some greater than lesser than symbol, we call it as an open tag. So close tag in the sense inside the greater than lesser than symbol, we will be having some forward slash. So let's say, okay, so if I'm having some open tag called as an Aravind, so for sure I should have some close tag called as an Aravind. So if I take like Apple, okay, and it should have the close tag called as an Apple, and either it can be close in the same line or in a different line. So let's consider an example like the apple is starting in the line number 1 and it is ending at line number 2, and inside this apple, so we can have some open tag and the close tag. So let's say I'm just creating an open tag called as an iPhone, and I'm having the close tag called as an iPhone. So what I'm trying to conclude here is like, so like the HTML is purely made up of tags. So we will be having open tag and close tag. So the tag may be open and close in the same line, or it can be open and close in the different line. And the tag can contain multiple tags as well. So if you relate this example with the pom.xml file, so here you could see like we are having a tag called as a group ID. Yeah, the group ID is get closed in the same line. The artifact ID tag is like opening in the line number 8 and closing in the line number 8. The version tag is opening at the opening at the line number 9 and it is closing at the line number 9. But here if you see like we are having a properties tag. So the properties tag is opening at the line number 11 and is closing at the line number 15. And this tag contain some other tags like called as a Maven compiler source, Maven compiler target, and source encoding, etc. Which means like inside the tag we can have the tag. And if you see like we are having some parent tag called as a project and it is terminating at the line number 17, which means like whenever we are going to add any new tag, so it should be add inside the parent tag. So the parent tag we call it as a project. So we should add the tag inside the project. Okay. So in order to add the dependency, so we are going to use the tag called as an dependency. Okay. So as we are going to add Selenium dependency as of now, but in the future, like we may add n number of dependency. So in order to add multiple dependency, initially we should create the tag called as an dependencies. Okay. So inside the dependencies plural tag, so we should add the required dependency. So this is the structure we going to add it up. So we will be initially we need to create the dependencies tag, and inside the dependency, like we are going to add a multiple dependency. So now I'm inside the project tag, that is inside the product parent tag. I'm adding the dependencies tag. So you can choose it from the suggestion, and inside the dependencies tag, so we are going to add the Selenium dependency. So how we are going to add the Selenium dependency in the sense? So in order to add the Selenium dependency, so we should navigate to the Maven repository. Okay, so we are having something called as an Maven repository. So what is mean by repository in the sense? So repository is nothing but we call it as an storage area. Okay, so it is kind of an cloud storage. So where all the jar files are get stored, and from that storage area, so we are going to download those jar file and we are going to insert those jar file into our project. Okay, so we call it as a Maven repository, or the shorter form of repository is called as an repo. So from the Maven repo, like we are going to download the Selenium dependency. So in a Google, I'm just going to search something called as an Maven repository. If I search Maven repository, so this is the official, okay, link of the Maven repository. As you are aware, like the shortcut of the Maven is MVN. The website is like mavenrepository.com. So now I'm navigating to the mavenrepository.com. It will contain multiple dependencies. So here initially we need Selenium dependency. So in the search bar, I'm searching with a keyword called as in Selenium, and then I'm clicking on the enter. So once I click on the Selenium keyword, the results are populating over here. And here you could see Selenium Java, Selenium Server, Selenium API. So here we are going to use the Selenium with the Java. So I'm just clicking on the Selenium Java. So once I click on the Selenium Java, so here we could see different versions. So like it having the 14.17, sorry, 4.17, 4.16 and 4.16.0, etc. So here like we need to download the latest version. So always download the latest version. So the latest version is 4.17.0. I am clicking on this 4.17.0. So once I click on it, it will be navigate to the another page. And in this page at the below, like we will be having the section called as an Maven. And here you could see some 4 lines of coding. So it shows the dependency stack, group edit tags, etc. If you just click over it, it will be auto copied. So just copy and paste inside this dependency stack. Okay. So what I did, so like just I have navigated to the mavenrepository.com. I have searched with the keyword called as Selenium, and then I have selected the Selenium Java, and then like I have selected the stable version, and then like I have copied the tags related to the Selenium Java, and I'm injected inside this dependency stack. So as I mentioned, so whatever the dependency we are going to add, it should be added inside the dependency stack. So if you add outside the dependency stack, so it will throw an error. So because like it will look for the syntax, so the dependency should be added inside the dependency stack. So that is the reason like I have added inside the dependency tag. But after adding inside the dependency tag, I am getting the error in the version number, and few may get the error in all 3 lines. So now I told like whenever we inject the dependency, the jar file will be auto download. So whenever the jar file is downloaded, obviously like it is going to be present inside the folder called as an external libraries. Okay, it will consider as a library files. So even if you notice like as Java library files are added over here. So even like if we configure, if we add the dependency, the Selenium file should be added over here, but I could not see any files over here. So the reason is like we need to reload the Maven. Okay, so at the right corner, so you may able to see the symbol called as an M, which indicates Maven. So if we expand this Maven, so whatever the project we have created, so it will be displaying, and we are having the section called as an lifecycle, and then we are having the section called as an plugins, and there should be an another section called as an dependencies. So now, which means like that as the dependency is not loaded, so the particular section is not appearing. So we may see the usage of the lifecycle and the plugin in the later part, and how we can reload the Maven in the sense like here there is an option to reload. Okay, so if you click on this reload, so it will reload the project. Okay, reload the Maven. So what happened when we try to reload? So it will Okay, so communicate to the global repo. So what is meant by global repo? So the shortcut of repo is called as a repository. So the global repo in the sense, so in our case, so the MVN repository is going to act as the global repo. So what is meant by global repo in the sense? So anyone can access this. Okay, so generally we are having three types of repository. So one we call it as an global repository, then we call it as an private repository, and another we call it as an local repository. So these are the three types of repo which are available. So the global repo, private repo, and local repo. So global repo in the sense anyone can access. So which means here the MVN repository like act as the global repo, which means like if whoever is like navigating to this particular web page and they can use the dependency in their coding. So whereas private repo in the sense it is like organization specific. Okay, so if some if some of the organization is developing their own jar, so they won't give it as the free of cost. So which means they will have their own company repo, so which can be accessed only by the specific people. Okay, so whoever is having the access, they can use the respective jar file in their project. So if it is of a project specific or organization specific, all the respective jar files will be available in the private repo and they won't give it as global because like it is an organization specific. So the local repo is nothing but like our system, we call it as a local repo. So when I reload the Maven, so what happened? So the POM.xml file, okay, so will communicate to the global repo, and from the global repo, it will download the required jar files to the local repo. So which means whenever we are doing the reload, so from the global repo, the required jar file will be downloaded to the local repo, which means like from the Maven repository, all the required jar file will be injected to our project as our project is stored in the local. So which means everything will be get loaded in the local. So now I'm just clicking on the reload button. So once I click on the reload button, you could be able to see some message called as an resolving Maven dependency. So what happened? The pom.xml file will communicate with the global repo and it will download the required jar files. So now you could see like there is something called as a dependency section added up, and if I expand this dependency section, I could see so the Selenium version is populated here, which means like it has successfully downloaded the Selenium dependency. And in other case, like if you just click on this external library, so initially there was like only one folder called as an like 21 the Java version. Now you could see there are many files added up, so these files are related to the Selenium. Okay, so which means like now we have injected the knowledge of the Selenium inside the project. So I have told like all the jar files will be stored in the local repo. So the local repo is in the sense like it is going to be our system. So where is this local repo present in our system? So we can see the local repo as well. So like if you just click on the main menu and then like if you go to the option called as in settings, in which like we are having some option called as an build execution and deployment. If I expand over it, so I could see something called as an build tool. If I expand the build tool, under which like we are having the option called as an Maven. Okay, so I'm just navigated to the settings followed by the build execution and deployment followed by the build tools and to the Maven. So in this Maven tab, if I scroll down, okay, here I could see the path called as an local repository, where the local repository is present in the sense C user, my username, and there will be a folder called as an .m2. Okay, so inside this .m2 folder, the repository will be present, and whenever you are creating the Maven project, automatically the .m2 folder will be created in our system. So you can manually verify. So just I'm navigating to this space, and then like I'm clicking on the local disk C and navigating to the users and then my username, and where is this .m2? Here is the .m2, and inside which like we are having the repository folder. So this is acting as the local repo. Okay, so now if I open this local repo, so there will be a number of files. So if I open any one of the folder, okay, I could be able to see the different versions, and the respective jar files will be presented here. Okay, so instead of downloading the jar files manually, so we have downloaded with the help of the Maven. And then like in the future, like even if the version number is updating, so like you don't need to like burn your head. So just you need to update the version number. So if the version number is next version is like 4.18, I can just update the respective version, and Maven will download the latest jar file whichever is related to the Selenium, and it will replace the old jar file. As it is taking care of the jar management, or we can say the dependency management, so we call a Maven as a build management tool or as a project management tool. So the actual reason like why we are using the Maven in the sense, so like because like the Maven is called as a build management tool, so which means like it's take care of the dependency. So whenever the respective dependency is configured in the POM.xml file, like it will be communicating to the global repo, and from the global repo it will be downloading the required jar file to the local repo. Okay, so that is the reason like everywhere like we are using the Maven project. So even the developers will be writing the code in the Maven project, because like everywhere the jar comes into the picture. So wherever the jar comes into the picture, like we will be using the Maven project. So that is why like worldwide, so everywhere they are using the Maven project as it is taking care of the dependency. Okay, so now the respective dependency is injected, and now we can try typing the keyword of the Selenium, so which we call it as an web driver. I'm just typing web, okay, driver. Now if you see, even if I type, in the suggestion, I could able to see it as an web driver. So which means like we can conclude it is configured correctly, or if you need, so you can type everything and then you can just give the variable name called as an d, and then like I'm giving the semicolon at the end. And if I need to, still there is an error, because like whenever you are using the Selenium keywords, like as all the functions are available inside the jar file, so we need to import the statement from the jar files. So just if you hover over the error, okay, if you place the mouse over a system, here you could able to see something called as an import class. So when you click on the import class, automatically, so one line will be added at the top. So we will be discussing what this line is about. So it is importing from the Selenium. So from the Selenium jar file, so the appropriate keywords will be get imported. Okay, so now our project is having the knowledge of Selenium as well as the knowledge of the Java. So which means like we can do the automation effectively. And then like in the further classes, so we will be creating the framework, and while creating the framework will have some specific keywords or the specific knowledge. And how we are going to inject the knowledge of the framework in the sense, obviously, right, in the pom.xml file, so we will be injecting the framework dependency. And at the high level, we call this dependency as an artifact. So we have added the Selenium Java artifact. So in other cases, like whatever the other dependency we are going to add, so we will be adding the required artifact. So let's say as we are going to use the Cucumber framework, so I can say like we are going to add the Cucumber Java artifact. So all the artifacts should be added inside the dependencies tag, and the added artifact will be displayed in the Maven. If you just click on the Maven logo, so inside the dependency you could be able to see whatever the artifact is available in your system. Okay, and if you still like after even after the reload, so like if you feel like still there is an issue, so there is an option called as a life cycle. So you can expand the life cycle and install inside which like we are having the option called as an install. So what this install means, like whatever the dependency we have mentioned inside the pom.xml file, it will re-download all the file and it will replace the file, whatever the file which is available in the existing whatever the file is available. So it will be get replaced by the newer files. So if I just click on this install and if I click on this run button, so again, so what happened? So the pom.xml file will communicate to the like global repo, and from where it will be downloading all the required jar file. If you see like it is navigating like this is the we are installing from the pom.xml file to cusers.m2. So whatever it is updated, so it is updating in the .m2 repository folder. So that is what I told. So the pom.xml file will communicate to the global repo, and from the global repo it will be downloading the required file to our local repo. Okay, so till this point, does anyone have any doubts?